Let's get real. I want to talk in this video about some of the real pros and some of the real cons of getting into Airbnb, whether it's through co-hosting or arbitrage or investing, because there's so many people out there now that are touting around how you can make millions overnight and do absolutely nothing and just go and borrow all of the money in the world and leverage yourself to all heck getting into Airbnb, and that you're just going to become a millionaire with no extra work. And I have a big problem with that, because for anyone that's been watching, keeping track, I've been in the Airbnb space, whether hosting or co-hosting or investing or teaching, for almost a decade now. And there's been a recent trend over the last 6 to 12 months maybe of a lot of bandwagoners jumping in, and I'm not trying to throw shade with this video, but there's just a lot of people out there that are giving people the wrong idea about what it actually takes to succeed with Airbnb. And I want to clear up some of that and share with you some honest pros and cons with Airbnb and how I recommend getting started in 2024. Let's start with the pros. Yes, you can make really great money. Yes, you can get started without having to put your own money in, but no, I don't recommend doing that. And sure, it might be possible, but I don't recommend doing that through going and maxing out a bunch of credit cards so that you can hopefully pay those down by the time you get your property rented. So yeah, there are great ways to start this business and to successfully start it without, or with very little money down, I should say. There's always going to be some little investments into your business, whether that's for training and education, whether that's for little different softwares you're going to have, but you really don't need to go and spend $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 getting a business started when it comes to Airbnb. You can do this using the co-hosting model, where you go and you approach property owners who are looking to get help managing their property, and you can offer that as a service in exchange for a percentage of the revenue from their property. It's a really great way to get started without the risk that comes with buying a property or doing rental arbitrage. What I really don't like seeing, that I'm seeing more and more of now, is these people that are spreading the idea of going and getting a business line of credit and then pulling out as many credit cards as you possibly can and maxing them out, renting a property, getting your first month's rent paid, your last month's rent paid, your security deposit, then grabbing those credit cards and maxing them all out, furnishing the property. This is an incredibly risky strategy that is honestly just stupid. It's a bad financial decision. It's a bad business decision. It's just a bad decision, even if it may work out for some people. A broken clock is still right once or twice a day. Here's why I think it's just such a bad idea. And here's why this is a real con to rental arbitrage, is because when you rent that property, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to rent it for more on Airbnb. You need to do lots of research, really know what you're doing, do due diligence to make sure that property is going to get rented consistently, and make sure you're going to do so at a high enough nightly rate that you're going to be profitable on the property. Even when you do that, after accounting for expenses like your software expenses, your cleaning expenses, your supplies expenses for the property, you're probably going to be pretty lucky to profit about $1,000 a month on a property that you rented for $3,000, maybe $4,000 a month. So now you've got a property that you just maxed out a bunch of credit cards to take on. You paid $3,000 first month's rent, $3,000 last month's rent, and let's say conservatively that you spent $8,000 or $9,000 or $10,000 furnishing that property. Well, now you're into that property for upwards of $12,000, and you've got to rent it for 12 months just to pay back that credit card debt. But that's not accounting for interest. Those credit cards are probably picking up 20, 25% interest every single year, and it's accumulating on a monthly basis. Well, now suddenly you've got a whole bunch of debt that you need to go and keep on working to actively pay off. That is not a business. That is not a smart financial decision. That's just going and taking a whole bunch of unnecessary risk to get these properties. And a lot of people out there will tout about how their properties are making thousands and thousands of dollars a month. but they don't talk about the expenses. They don't talk about all the costs that go into it. And they don't talk about the initial investment they made. They don't talk about the people that go and buy properties or rent properties that are the wrong properties and that don't actually perform well and end up needing to sell all that furniture secondhand, take a big, huge loss on that, and now you're left with a big pile of debt. Long story short, if you're going to be getting into rental arbitrage, which I generally don't recommend anyway because of all the risk and because of how challenging it can be from a cash flow perspective to run and grow that business, then you want to make sure that you're doing it with your own money that you can afford to lose. You don't want to go and use money that you need to pay for your bills. And you certainly don't want to go and borrow money to go and get started with something like rental arbitrage. Now, if you're getting started with co-hosting, you can get started. You don't actually have to go and spend a whole bunch of money on setting that business up. It can be relatively inexpensive. Now, you will want to get business training, whether that's just binge watching all the content on a YouTube channel like this or some of the other ones out there that are really fantastic and great educational channels about Airbnb and about short-term rentals. Heck, there are even some really, really great channels out there about rental arbitrage where the people are actually doing it and doing a great job. And learning can go like that, or you can join one of the training programs that are out there from me or other people in the space, but you definitely want to get educated. Are you a brand new or experienced Airbnb host, co-host, or investor who wants to host as successfully, as profitably, and with as much fun as possible? If so, then I would love to invite you to check out BNB Tribe, linked in the description down below this video. It's our exclusive community for Airbnb hosts, investors, and co-hosts from all over the world, where I share some of my best trainings that go into detail on every single aspect of Airbnb hosting from A to Z. We've got advanced training playbooks that will help you to use more advanced strategies to take things to the next level and make more money and have more fun hosting, co-hosting, or investing on Airbnb. You're also going to get access to an incredible community and over $2,500 worth of deals, perks, discounts, bonuses that I've negotiated with other vendors in the short-term rental industry. So if you want access to all of that and a whole bunch more, check out the link in the description down below for BNB Tribe, and I would love to see you on the inside. Education is going to be what speeds up your learning curve to make sure that you don't have to take on all those mistakes that myself and other people have made in the past. You can learn from our mistakes as opposed to making them yourself. That's going to speed things up. So it's going to give you a big leg up over the competition so that you can actually have experience and actually provide really great value to your clients. I'll be the first to admit that for the first couple clients that I had when I first started my journey 10 years ago, I made mistakes and I didn't deliver as high quality of a service as I would be proud to honestly put my name on. And that's just because it was learning. It was a learning curve to it. I was new to it. It was all new to me. And you don't want to start out with that if you can avoid it. So training is a big one there. There is a big learning curve that comes with Airbnb. It's not just set it and forget it, do nothing. There are proven strategies that work, that get properties to perform well, that you can use to get clients, that you can use to analyze properties and make sure you're getting the right properties. But ultimately, you still have to go and learn those and implement them and make sure you're doing things properly. It is not by any means something that you can just pop into and with no education, no training, no experience, just go ahead and perform well. You're going to make mistakes. It's going to be a big learning curve. So there is definitely work that needs to be going into building the business. Now, let's talk about the other side of this, which is actually investing in properties for short-term rental. Now, there's some obvious pros and big benefits to short-term rental investing. I invest in my own short-term rental properties. I think it's a really, really great strategy, but that's not to say that it's just all sunshine and rainbows and there are no downsides to it at all. It is, again, work, just like anything else. There's no something for nothing in this world. And if you find yourself following someone who is touting the idea of getting rich overnight, getting rich quickly, getting rich without any effort, then you're probably following the wrong person. You might want to be a bit more skeptical about that. Of course, there are lots of opportunities to be successful, but they require work, they require expertise, they require actual effort. And so when it comes to actually purchasing properties for short-term rental, there's some great pros. You get to build long-term equity, which is really, really great. You get to see that property appreciate over time, which is going to build your wealth. You're paying down principal on the mortgage as you own that property, so that's building wealth for you as well. and you can generate great cash flow with the right property. You can put money directly back into your bank account, and that cash flow can then be used to either pay for your expenses, give you some supplemental income, or you can reinvest it into the next property. It's a really great strategy. And there are benefits to short-term rental investing over long-term rental investing, like the increased cash flow and the increased control that you get over your property. But there are also drawbacks to this strategy that you have to be aware of. For starters, renting short term is going to be more work than renting long term. And so if you do want to be completely hands off, then you either have to hire a property manager, which, by the way, that means that you're still going to be putting work into finding that property manager. Sure, it can be hands off down the road once you have things set up, but you absolutely need to go and find that property manager. Or you can build your own internal property management team and systems, which again takes work to set up initially. It can be highly passive down the road. Once you have that structure all set up, you've got the team in place, you've got all your systems working well in terms of your guest communication, automation, your pricing strategy, all that stuff. You can set that up to require 30 minutes an hour a week to maintain ongoingly. But that's not going to happen in the blink of an eye. You have to put work in to setting up these softwares, hiring these team members, putting everything in place so it can run smoothly. For some people, that's a really, really great option because some people are not afraid of putting in that extra work and they want to build that sweat equity. They want to put the work in and build a system that they can multiply with. Because largely, if you have the system set up for one property, the nice thing is you can multiply, buy a second property, a third property, a fourth property, and still leverage a lot of those same systems and same team members that you have in place for the first one. So it can be really effective. It also is going to be something that, if you do it the right way, allows you to reach a significant enough financial cash flow monthly coming in that you don't need to worry about your job. And you'll be able to do that with a lot fewer properties than you would long-term rentals that cash flow lower. That means taking on less debt, means taking on less leverage, it means taking on less risk. It can be a really great strategy. There's lots of pros to it, but don't be fooled. There are downsides as well, the workload being one of them. You also have to deal with issues that come up. It's not going to be a business that has zero issues ever come up. Now, you can have a team in place to handle those issues, but the issues will still come up nonetheless, whether it's a guest leaving your property a little extra dirty, sometimes damaging the property, different elements like that. Maybe you're going to have neighbor complaints. And again, there are strategies and solutions to all of these problems. I'm not ragging on short-term rental. I've been doing it for 10 years. I love it. I teach people about it. I built a whole business around this. I absolutely love short-term rentals, but I don't think it's fair to say that there's absolutely no downside. And I don't like that there's a lot of people out there right now touting that you can do this with no work, no effort. You can get there overnight. Hopefully this video has given you an accurate picture of the real pros and the real cons of short-term rental. It is absolutely a really, really great strategy to get involved with, whether you want to start co-hosting, whether you want to host your own space, whether you want to get started investing. If you do, I'd highly recommend that you join and jump into a collaborative community like the one that we built with BNB Tribe that's there to help you. We'll give you support. We'll teach you all the ins and outs of different pricing strategies, optimization strategies, how to avoid mistakes, how to pick the right properties, everything you could imagine. If you want access to that, there's a link in the description down below. You can join that community, get access to all the training, get access to all of our deals and perks, everything else that we have to offer in there. It's a really, really great place to get started, or a really, really great place for any of you who are already doing it to jump in and level up your hosting. We've got something called advanced training playbooks in there that are going to allow you to leverage different strategies like direct bookings, using AI for guest communication, all these different strategies that are going to make hosting or co-hosting or investing more profitable and more fun. It's a really great community. I'd highly recommend checking it out. It's also extremely affordable. So check that out, link in the description down below. But I really hope that you get started on Airbnb on the right foot with the right expectations, most importantly. If you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. It really does help me to grow this channel and get these videos in front of more people. If you have thoughts, comments, questions, let me know in the comment section down below. If you want to see more videos like this, take half a second, just hit the subscribe button. I promise it doesn't cost a thing. And we post 2 new videos every single week here on the channel, talking about everything you can imagine that'll help you to succeed with Airbnb. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you want to stay up to date and get notified when we post those 2 new videos, you can hit the notification bell as well. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you over in the next one.